We all come from different walks of life, and we face many challenges in life. Whatever you may be going through right now, or whatever you have gone through, I need you to know that you are not alone. I'm Mildred Towns. Let's be real about real life issues. Hello and welcome to Let's Be Real About It, where we're real about real life issues. I am your host, Mildred Towns. Our disclaimer is that this is a no holds barred zone. Therefore, some of the contents of the show may be offensive to some, but that is not the intent of the show. I have a lovely guest tonight that I'm happy to introduce to you. Her name is Latanya Bennett, Tolliver-Bey. Welcome, Latanya. Welcome to Let's Be Real About It.
Thank you.
How are you?
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. And yourself?
I am doing well.
I'm great. And you?
Did you say something?
I did. I said, I'm fine. Thank you. And how about yourself?
I'm doing great. I think the title of the show tonight is Another Day's Journey for Shirley. All you've been through, you're on a whole nother day's journey. It's another day's journey for you.
Yes, ma'am.
So, yes, Lord. So we give God praise for another day's journey, a new day, a dawning. Thank you, Lord. Tell us about Latanya. Tell us about Latanya.
Yeah. Well, my name is Latanya, maiden name Bennett, Tolliver-Bey. I am a medical social worker. I have a master's degree in social work. I also own my own accessory business called Connie Max Accessory and More. And I'm the founder and executor of Jabez House of Refuge, which is a homeless organization, which will soon have facility beds for families and individuals.
All right now. You lived in California with your great grandmother until she passed. Then you moved with your dad. Talk about your aunt kidnapping you from your dad's house.
Well, I was born in Los Angeles, California County, from birth to 8, raised in Compton, California. My great grandmother raised me because my mother was a teenage mother. And when she did leave the home, she didn't allow me to actually live with her, but I did go stay with her from time to time. But when my grandmother passed away, I like around 7, I went to stay with my father for that year. And the reason why I ended up with him, because my father felt it was unsafe for me to stay with my mom because my stepfather was a drug dealer back in the 70s. And so he wouldn't let me go back to my mom's house. So my mom and dad, by them neither one of them having custody of me, the police couldn't give me to my mother from him, and vice versa. If she had me, she would. So they instructed her, if you want her back, just kidnap her. And that's what happened. And one day I was outside playing with my cousins, and my mother's sister and my mother's aunt came up in a car and kind of lured me to the corner, and they pulled me in the car. And next thing I know, they took me, and then we ended up in Texas.
So how did that affect you? Just all of a sudden going from your dad's house to Texas?
Well, it didn't affect me as much because, like I stated before, I stayed with my mother's grandmother until my dad had me for that year. But so I was used to that side of the family more than I was my father's side. But it affected me because I really wanted to be with my mother because I was so used to them. The only thing is, and while I stayed with my father, my mother used to try to come over and take me. So when my father wasn't at home, my stepmother used to put me in the closet because she didn't want my mother to hear me crying. So she would come into their home and take me out. And I used to find myself crying myself to sleep in the closet. Back then, I didn't know what was going on. I just thought she was being mean to me. But what she was doing is trying to keep me away from my mother. So that did cause a little bit of, childhood depression during that time.
Yeah, because I can imagine, regardless of what your mother, was doing at the time, kids love their parents. They love their mothers, regardless of whatever else that may be going on. You know, I guess it's just something all about a mother's when a mother gives birth to that child, there's an attachment, and when that attachment is there, regardless of what the parent may be doing,
Yes.
you love your mama. You love her regardless. So, talk about you being raped at 9 years old.
So we had that attachment, but my mother and I had a love-hate relationship because I believe because she had me so young and her losing her own mother at the age of 11. That's why I was staying with my great grandmother versus a grandmother because her grandmother, which was my great grandmother, raised me. But when we moved to Texas, um, I don't think it was more so she wanted just to take me away from my father. I think it was more so she felt that I belonged to her and she had lost so much till she had her aunt and her sister to come and get me from my father's house, which they lured me into the car and took me away.
So, talk about it at the age of 9, you being raped.
Yeah, this was like I could have been it was basically Juneteenth weekend 1982. I was 9 and the apartment complex that we lived in, they had like a Juneteenth celebration. So everyone in different apartment complex brought different items to the celebration. So it was a teenage boy visiting his family that summer. So I really didn't know him. He had asked me to come help him bring some sodas to the event, and me being naive and young, I just went up the stairs with him to his uncle's apartment to get help him with the sodas. But once I got in there, it was a different story.
So, he raped you, and um, you just left and went back. If I'm not mistaken, you said you just left and went back to playing. Uh, what people don't understand, even though she was 9 years old, she never forgot that. What happened to her at the age of 9. Um, Rape
You
victims,
know,
go ahead.
even though I was 9, I never told no one about the 9-year-old until last year. I was 48 years old when I even spoke of the 9-year-old. Now, I was 32 years old when I spoke of the 16-year-old that got raped, but I didn't tell anybody till last year about the 9-year-old.
So, was it
I
just that
just,
you weren't able to talk about it, or you just pushed it out of your mind because you were so young?
yes, I did because I really didn't know what happened. But I realize now, what happened. But I kind of knew what happened, but I didn't know at that time.
Understandable.
So I never talked about the 9-year-old.
Now, you suffered great verbal abuse from your mom. What were some of the things that she said to you, and talk about how that affected you, even as of today, if it's still
Well,
affecting
oh yes. Like say for instance, I was told growing up I was ugly. I was stupid. I don't know where you come from. You not nothing like us. I was told things like that. I even like I was so like scared of her sometimes that when she passed by me, I'll be like, I'm sorry. I was always, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And then one time she had stated to me, yeah, you're right. You're sorry. You one of the sorriest MFers I ever met.
you?
And like when, a girl 13, 14 getting acne in her face, 12, 13, um, she would call me like peanut patty face B because of the bumps and stuff in my face. It was like I never understood why she would say certain things to me, but I never disliked her. I always loved her. It was a love for her that no matter what she said or did, it didn't matter. It mattered, but it didn't matter because I still wanted her. I still wanted her approval. I just wanted to belong. Like I stated, I went from my great grandmother's house to staying with my father and my stepmother and my step into Texas, living with my mom, and um then went to Texas, and then that's when we went to Texas some years later, she got on drugs, but it was some good years in between, but it was more like, I don't know, I couldn't do no right for her. Nothing I did was satisfy her, and I never understood that. I don't know if it was because she had me at such a young age, and she was the oldest out of her siblings. And when her mother passed at 11, she had three younger siblings on her mother's side that she had to help raise in a household with her grandmother being my great grandmother. From my understanding, they were dysfunctional, but my mother and her siblings were. They came into a house of dysfunction, which just ruled over, everything that they ever known before their mother passed away.
So she was popular
And
in
so I
school
believe that,
too.
that can you repeat that?
I said your mother, from what you told me, she was popular in school as well.
Oh, yes. I've heard that she was the favorite of everything. She was head of the majorettes at her school, Centennial High School in Compton, California. She was modeling, she sings, she was in
Yeah, so sometimes when having a child at a early age, you know, um, it can take you into other places. You could go ahead and finish.
and yes, like when I was born, all that stuff that she was into um went away. So it's like I didn't take it away, but in her mind, because of my birth, everything that she had looking forward to disappeared because of the birth, because she decided to have me after aunts, my great aunts, her aunts want her to have abortion because, like I stated before, she was like going to Hollywood, doing modeling. She was head cheerleader. She was everything. She had a lot of stuff, and she was very smart. She was like a prodigy. It wasn't nothing she couldn't do. Write poetry, write books, everything. But she was, something was sad inside of her, and I always saw that in her eyes. So I think that's why it made me um more empathetic towards her, because I saw hurt in her eyes,
So there
even
was a
though
time,
she was hurting me with her words.
yeah,
Yes.
there was a time that she pistol whipped you too, correct?
She used to what?
Pistol whip
What
you.
did you say?
There was a time that she
Well,
pistol
what
whipped you.
happened? I think yes, ma'am. I was like 16 years old, and I have a cousin that's 2 years younger than me. She was liking a boy that was a gangbanger slash drug dealer, and he didn't give her the time of the day. So she has a little sister. During that time, she was about 4 or 5 years old, and she made her sister throw rocks at the boy because of he didn't pay any attention to her. And then when my little cousin was throwing rocks, the boy slapped her with an open hand fist and knocked her down. During that time, my mother had came up and she saw it. So she ran into her house and got her gun. And as I saw her about to shoot the boy, I'm tussling with her. I'm saying, no, 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 don't shoot him. If you shoot him, you're going to go to jail, and they're going to take me and my sister and put us in foster home. And my aunt would have her two kids, and they're the root of the issue. They're the one who started it. And because I overpowered her, when the boy saw the gun, he ran. So when he ran, I let go of the gun. And when I let go of the gun, she took it and she hit me upside the head. And she was like, don't you ever try to outpower me again. And with every word she said, she hit me with the butt of the gun. And that's what I mean when I said she pistol with me, because actually it was a pistol and she hit me upside the head with it about 4 or 5 times. because I overpowered her because she was going to shoot the young gentleman. But so that was the reason why she ended up hitting me with a gun. It wasn't like she planned to hit me with a gun. It was because of that issue or that.
Talk about a truck you were in, you and a friend, and that truck getting shot up and your friend getting killed.
Well, it was my senior year in high school, and I was dating a gentleman. He was in the U.S. Marines, and we were in a truck with him, and he had a pickup style truck. And I'm sitting in the middle. My friend is sitting in the passenger side, and he's driving. As we driving down the street, and this is in Long Beach, California. As we driving down the street, LA County is known for drive-bys and things like that and gang violence. So we heard gunshots. So what we did, we turned the corner, but what we did, we turned into the gunfire. And as we turned into the gunfire, the truck got riddled with bullets. And he said to my friend, duck. Instead of her ducking on the side where she was at, she ducked in the middle where I was and pushed my head down. And as she was ducking with me, the bullet went into her eye, into her brain. And all her blood and everything was all over me, because, of course, because she was laying on top of me. And she was my best friend. So pretty much she either saved my life, or I don't know, the bullet could have hit me if she didn't push my head down. I don't know.
So how did
But
that
she didn't
affect
duck
you?
where she was at. It affected me. It really affected me because I thought I took her from her family. I couldn't face her family. The next day, because that happened on a Sunday, and this was our senior year in high school, I went to school like it was just any other day. And because we were always together, they asked me where she was. I'll say, oh, she got shot in the face yesterday and she's in the hospital. Like nonchalant, like it was nothing. But my psyche, it was just gone, because she was my best friend. And what really got me is that later, like a week or two, I found a encyclopedia where back in the day, we used to use encyclopedias. And I was looking, I found a sheet of paper, and it had like a little scribble scrabble, and it looked like a body slumped over. It had words gift of friendship, and then it had baby written on it. And the thing with that is that she was my best friend, and it had car, not truck, but it had car. It had car, gift of friendship, and baby. Well, we were in a truck, but not a car. But she was pregnant, and she was my best friend. And then that little scribble that I had did, it was a body. So it's like I foresaw it way before it happened. That's how I felt when I saw that piece of paper, because I saw it like weeks later after her death, because they had to take her off the life support after the baby died.
Oh. So talk about your friends setting you up to be raped. Now, these are your friends, or so-called friends.
Well, they weren't. Well, yeah, they weren't friends. They were just neighborhood people that I knew, and I thought I was close to. The thing is, when my mother was on drugs, I used to go over to her house because, sometimes some people would be at our house, well, getting high. So I would go over to her house, and she was like about 24 years old, 22, 24, around that age. I used to just go over her house just to have an outlet to get away from that atmosphere. So one day I was at her home. It was me, her, another young lady that was around 22, and a 26-year-old gentleman that we know. And I was in the house with them, and I'm so used to being around him, so everything seemed normal to me. But I went to the bathroom to use the bathroom, and when I came out, the two ladies were gone, but the guy, he was still there. So what I did, I made my way towards the door to see where they were at. And as I tried to make myself out the door, he pushed the door closed. And when he pushed the door closed, I'm like, stop playing, stop playing, And then as I'm trying, he's tugging on me and my clothing and stuff, and I'm fighting. I'm like, go on, stop playing, because I'm really thinking he's just playing. I'm not thinking anything of it. So next thing I know, as I'm hitting him, like, stop, he socked me. And the thing that his physique, you know how when people look when they first get out of prison at, like, they call penitentiary
Mhm.
strong or something like that, he was buff like that, and he also lift weights, and he not too long got out of prison. So As I'm hitting him, like trying to make him stop, he's steadily socking me and socking me and socking me and socking me. And my spirit just said, Tanya, he's gonna take it regardless. You either he gonna kill you and take it, or he gonna take it. Just let go. So my body just released, and I just let go, and I just let him finish doing what he was doing. And then after he got through doing what he did, he left out the house. I ran into the bathroom. I got in the shower. It's just like I could not get clean for nothing. And next thing I know, they come knocking on the door like, what's the matter? What happened? What did he do? But they had set me up. They knew he was going to do something. I don't know if they knew the degree of what he was going to do it, but they knew. They knew. And I
And
was
allowed it to
16 and
happen.
they were 26, 24. Yeah. And they were grown women, basically. And I was 16-year-old teenager. And he was a 26-year-old man that was very, muscle strong, and he was just punching and punching. And I just finally just let go.
So did you tell anybody?
I did not tell nobody about that till I was 32 years old. I was 16 years later. I told somebody about that. I have a habit of holding things in. That's an issue that I've had all my life. I don't like to tell everything that go on with me. Some people would never know when I'm going through stuff because I just know how to. I've learned to keep things to myself and nurture myself without nobody's help. Like I said, like with all the other stuff that I went through, the talking to me a certain kind of way. And people don't understand when a parent is on drugs, people in the neighborhood take advantage of their children. They either treat them like they're the drug addict or they take advantage of them sexually. And that's have to do girls and boys. And so you got to watch for those things because it's not the child that's on drugs, it's the parent, but they get treated as if they're the drug addict from people in the neighborhood and other surrounding people around them. And which is very hard. It was a lot of kids, because I grew, like I say, that was the 80s. And after we left Texas, we moved back to California. And when we moved back to California, that's when my mother was really got there out there on drugs. Because in Texas, it wasn't, you couldn't really tell. If she did, that's when she started. But when we got back to California, it was like, when it was just too much. It was too much. And like the children in the neighborhood, I became like their advocate. So that's why it was like I made sure that a lot of kids in the neighborhood ate who parents was on drugs or who went to school and things like that. It was like, and I was a kid myself. So I pretty much always been the person that's helping everybody else and never been the person that somebody helped.
Oh, I
So
understand. I understand.
I always looked for love. And I think that is my thing because I felt, my grandmother died and she left me. And she said she loved me. My mother said she loved me, but when she became, out there, she turned out to be not a person of interest of loving me. And then my dad, even though he said he loved me, I'm his only child. He married someone, she had a child, and they had a family. Now, if she can raise her child, why can't you help raise your child? And so that was a hurt when she loved him. When my best friend died, even though it wasn't her choice, um, I know we loved each other like sisters, and she left me. And so she always said she loved me. And then the gentleman that was in the car with us, he was my boyfriend, and we were called because it was my senior year in high school, and we were supposed to be married. I found out as I lost her is that he had someone else and got them pregnant. So I lost her and him around the same time. And then I had to go to court with seeing him about with the guy who killed my friend because that gentleman turned himself in. And I keep calling them gentlemen because they are. It's just a point in life that a lot of people took the wrong road. And someone has always said to me, Tanya, you give grace to too many people when they didn't give grace to you. But I can't help but that, because my thing is, I just can't treat people bad, even though they treat me bad. It's just hard. Like even my ex-husband, we went towards the end of our divorce. He turned out to me a mean person, which I never thought he would be.
So talk about
So, and I
talk
gave,
about since you're talking about, I hate to interrupt you, but our time is going. Talk about your ex-husband since you're on him asking you to have an abortion because his girlfriend was pregnant and how you felt about that.
well, we had been, to be honest, through our marriage, I kind of was sabotaging our marriage because he was telling me he loved me like everybody else. So my attitude was, he gonna run like everybody else. He gonna leave me one day. He gonna do this. So I would do little picky little things. But then when I finally realized this man is different from all those other people, then he turned out to be just like them other people. He turned out, he's like, well, I came home for one day after working a 16-hour shift from 3 to 7:30 the next morning. He was like, we only had one car back then. And he was like, Tanya, when I get home from work, well, he was in the Navy. He said, we need to talk. And I'm like, talk about what? And then um, and I kept pestering him. So he said, Tanya, I've been talking with one of my friends, and so when I get off work today, I'm gonna pack my stuff and leave. And my thing is, you've been talking to someone and you call yourself on leaving me. But in the midst of him leaving,
So so we're going to go ahead and end it right there. And when we come back, when we get into
I was
part
stating,
two,
like I was stating,
Tanya.
in the midst.
So we're going to pick up part two, back with her talking about her ex-husband asking her to have an abortion because his girlfriend was pregnant and how she felt about that. Uh, so I want to thank her for coming on and being a part of the show. And I want to thank my sponsors for their prayers and donations that's been given to help support the show. If Let's Be Real About It have been a blessing to you, please consider sending a love offering to $ Mildred Towns. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Let's Be Real with Mildred Towns. Please go there and subscribe. That way you know when every show is coming on. Please order my book, Truth, My Closet Secrets Reveal. It reveals my battle scars and my triumph and victories, and my brochure, I Cry from the Womb. And you can send me an email to iheartministries@gmail.com, or you can give me a call at 757-776-2987. And every day, every morning, y'all, we have prayer at 7:30, and you can dial in to 605-313-5885, and the code is 88187. That's 605-313-5885, and the code is 88187. And I just want to give special thanks to all the viewers nationally and internationally who watch the show. And until next week, may God bless you and keep you. I'm Mildred Towns. Thank you for watching.
What up, y'all? It's your boy back on stage. We here at J&K Style and Grill with my main man.
J&K Style Grill, home of the original waffle burger, stuffed wings, and Philly steak egg roll.
The food was amazing, man. I'm talking about collard green stuffed chicken, mac and cheese stuffed chicken, waffle burger with the special sauce.
With the special sauce.
Come on, man. What are you doing if you ain't eating here? You're wasting your life.
Pull up.
J&K Style Grill, you can copy the style,
but never the best.
we got it.
We got it.
Hey.